dark night of the soul can feel pretty hopeless at times. You can get yourself into some serious situations where you genuinely believe there's no way out for you. And that's understandable, I get that, because it does genuinely, seemingly feel that way at times. There are certain stages to the dark night of the soul. Although, it's quite a fluid process, but there are some sort of stages that we sort of, as we come out of it, we begin to recognise, oh, that's where I was, etc., etc. So I'm going to share those today, just so people, if they're interested, they want to know where they are during their dark night of the soul and how long left they might have. Obviously, it's not on a time thing, it's done on how dedicated you are to your practice and also how fast you're willing to wake up. I'm going to jump into these today. So if this is what you're going through, then please watch this video. There are some stages to the dark night of the soul. And sometimes it's appropriate for us to know where we are. Sometimes when it gets to our lowest point, we sometimes think, oh, this will never end. But it does end. And you have to trust that. And I'm hoping that perhaps knowing not really the time scale, because there's a deep feeling in me that I don't think it's done on time. I think it's done on how much work you put into it. But there is some general stages, and it may well be nice for you to know where you are, how long you have left, not in a time-wise, but just to see where you're stepping out. And hopefully to give you some hope in the hopelessness of the dark night of the soul, because I know what it can be like. The first stage for me, as I've mentioned on another video on my channel, which if you'd like to, let me just stop and take a moment, you're more than welcome to jump on there, because I'm sort of creating a spiritual toolkit for people in the dark night of the soul, for people that have had a Kundalini awakening, etc., etc., so that they can help themselves, empower themselves to get out of any situation that they firstly don't really like, because the dark night of the soul we're not really big fans of, but it is necessary. And if you wish to take yourself out of it, you have to do the work. I can't do that for you, but I've got some tools that worked for me on my channel. And if you'd like, there's a guided meditation as well. Links down below, totally free for you if that interests you. So moving on now to the dark night of the soul, the first stage for me, after I'd come back from a retreat in India, in Rishikesh, I came back to, my teacher was like, enjoy this next little bit of time because you're going to find it quite difficult and it's going to last quite a long time. And he was right. It was difficult. I had some pain, some old wounds that were coming up to be dealt with. And this is where the light, yoga has really good marketing and it brings you in on like a high vibe. Like, yes, I love it. I'm so excited for this. I'm realising that I'm not just the body and the mind, and I'm actually so much more than that. But once that stage is over and all the love and light is in your body, that love and light drops because you fundamentally realise, oh, sugar, I've been brought into this new way of life, this yoga, through me believing that it's true. And now that the dark night of the soul is in play, I have to prove it to myself. And so all the light leaves, because it was all based on beliefs anyway. So you literally bottom out. But it's from there, Davy Jones's locker, that we're delivered into, that we then begin to grow and become the person that we know is true, but beyond beliefs and actual knowing and experiential knowledge. Beyond the identity, beyond the ego, of firstly who I am and where all of this is going. First stage for me was just pain. I had wounds inside of me that I had. Any wounds, let's say, that you've neglected or that you've repressed throughout your life, that you weren't either old enough or mature enough to deal with in the time, will have left some sort of imprint on your psyche. And that then gets played out in what we call this dark night of the soul. And the first stage of it is very, very unconscious. You just get battered with pain. At least this was my experience. You get battered with pain from all angles and you don't really know why it's happening. And it's the kind of pain that, sometimes people, I only know this from my experience, sometimes people say they're depressed. And I get it, and like you're like, oh, well, are you? And that was me before. I used to say I was depressed or had anxiety or whatever. And I'm not knocking these things because they are real and they're dangerous sometimes. But truly, I didn't know what actual depression was until the dark night of the soul, because this creates pain within you on an existential level, a level that's it vibrates so strongly and hardly in your tummy, this pain in your heart, that it could easily just pull you to the floor. That's how strong the vibration of pain is within you in that moment. And I did find in this first stage me trying to escape that pain in any way that I possibly could, because it was so unconscious. So this is the kind of the first stage, the unconscious pain that comes in. Now what you can do with that to create this next stage for you is to go deeper into your spiritual practice or your sadhana. This is the best thing to do, because the sadhana or yoga or meditation will do the work. It's specifically designed to do the work that you maybe don't consciously have the power to do at the moment. So just, if you can, this would be my tip. It was great for me, but I didn't actually listen to this tip, and I wish I did. Go into as much yoga or as much spiritual meditation as you can that is designed to actually ground you and designed to increase the awareness within, so that we can sort of shine a spiritual spotlight on actually what's causing this pain. The second stage after that, after you've done some of your work, some of the deeper inner work, because this is really where the real work starts. The love and light has gone, has left you. The feeling of joy and bliss has gone now. You've hit rock bottom, and it's now time to do the deep inner work. It's time to have a look inside and see where these unconscious wounds firstly have come from, and where you'd like to take them by doing the work to change them inside yourself now. This is interestingly why we say that people's pasts change. As soon as you do the work in the moment now and become more of a blissful being, become more of who you really are, your past that wasn't really who you really were, or the past where these wounds were, have less impact on the now, because we're doing the deep inner work in this now moment. So it's almost like your past changes, because you won't have a reference point for it anymore. The deeper you go into this, there'll be no reference point for the past, because you're only bringing up the past because of the pain that it had. Anyway, let's move on, because I'm going a bit off topic. So the second stage of the dark night of the soul is to now increase your awareness around what this pain is. And the best way to do that is to feel the pain. I know that sounds silly, but once you feel the pain, you almost take the mental craziness that comes afterwards out of the picture. So long as you're actually steadfast, oh, pain's there, really just feel it. Feel your being surrounding it. Once that begins to happen, you're then acknowledging that pain, and the pain will start to show you things about it. It's like it's like when you're first dating a girl and she's not very comfortable around you yet. So you nurture her into getting comfortable with who you are just by being you. It's kind of like that. The feeling the pain is the nurturing this pain so that they open up more. So that the pain opens up more to you, and it will let you know why it's here and what beliefs are surrounding it. It will usually show you lots of fear as well. And this is up to you whether you buy into the fear or not, because in my journey I bought into loads of fears. I think it's part of the journey. Maybe it isn't for you, but I bought into loads of fears that weren't true. Like, oh, maybe this life isn't maybe I won't become enlightened in this life. Maybe this life isn't meant for me in that way. Or maybe I won't get my dream house or my dream with my business that I'm running now. Maybe I won't ever be able to be financially free. And these fears are coming from sets of beliefs that we've bought into through our lives. Fear is not our natural state. The only time I'd say fear is our natural state is if we're actually genuinely under attack. We might say, oh, well, actually it's the bodily fear, the natural instinct to survive, because on a deeper level, spiritually, you know you're never going to die anyway. But the body will bring in some fear in one of those situations. What I'm talking about though is fear not being our natural state at all. It shouldn't be. So that every time we feel the fear in the pit of our tummy, in the dark night of the soul, we should really be investigating why it's there. And it will be some sort of limiting belief or negative definition that you have of yourself, or I'm not good enough, or maybe this life won't work out the way that I want it. And it's interesting because if it's coming from fear, it's not coming from who we naturally are. But if it's coming from love, and we can choose to pick a positive perspective around these things, then we do sort of move on to the next stage of the dark night of the soul. So we're feeling the pain, we're noticing these negative definitions, and as soon as we become aware of them, cool, we move on to the next stage of the dark night of the soul. Now naturally, when we feel these fears or feel these pangs in our belly, these painful depressive feelings that then usually precede a thought, and then mental, why am I not good enough, oh, why does this life suck, why always me? We now have the awareness of these fears by feeling them. We then move into the next stage of the dark night of the soul, where we actually get to, this is the exciting bit, but we actually then, because as soon as you've found one of these fears, as soon as one of them comes up and you have the awareness and you just witness that without getting attached to it, you then, the time is ticking on it then. Literally, as soon as you've become aware of it and seen that, oh actually that's not something that I really prefer, then the timer has begun to tick on that limiting belief. It won't stay around too long. And as soon as the moment it pops up in your consciousness and you'll see it as like silly, or that you've never, why did I ever believe that? Then it will drop away, and that'll be that for that. But then we get to pick, and the exciting bit, once they start dropping away, we get to pick our new belief systems. We get to choose beliefs that we prefer. This is basically the stage of the dark night of the soul, where I like to call it like fill it with preference. Like, what is it you prefer? What do you feel you've actually come in to imbibe in this life? What theme have you come in to have a look at? Is it love? Is it abundance? Like, what are we wanting from this life? Because once we see these negative beliefs that aren't in alignment with who we are, we can change them for ones that are more in alignment with who we want to be. For example, somebody who's in an amazing relationship found their true twin flame soulmate. Or we want to create an abundant life for ourselves where we have the internal freedom as well, but that's reflected outside as an external freedom, in the sense that we now have a lot of options with what we can do. We can jump on a plane to Heathrow and just fly off to Namibia. Is that a real place? I don't know, I'm pretty ignorant. But we can go wherever we want, Bali, because we have the freedom monetarily. But it starts with the freedom within. So we're cultivating this by picking and imbibing our old negative beliefs into new belief systems now that we get to choose from our preference. So what are you wanting from life? Well, let's say I want love. Then I can create this inner state, this inner feeling of love. We can all do that. That's not too hard for us to do. Even if it feels like we're feeling like we're faking it at the start, that's fine. You're still in that state of love if you are trying to feel it. You can even use memory. Try and think of a time when you were in love. Or think of a time when love was brimming through you. And as soon as you remember that state, you're actually in that state again. So you're recreating it in the moment. Even if it doesn't feel as lovely as it did before, or feel as strong as it did before, doesn't matter. You must know that in that moment you are in that state. And when you continue to create this state within you, not only will it become real for you, which is the real joy of it, because your natural state will then be feeling in love with yourself, literally. You will then start attracting whatever it is you want through this new belief that I am always loved, or whatever this feeling state makes you believe about yourself. Oh, I'm always loved by me. That's cool. And then it'll start like that, and then you'll start attracting things. So this is sort of the next stage now of the dark night of the soul. The clocks are clicking. The clocks are clicking? The clocks are ticking on those limiting beliefs. You've felt them enough now. They're giving you some clues. Oh, well, this is what I actually want to believe about myself to be true in this moment now. So I'm going to feel the state of love rather than my negative beliefs. Oh, I feel love, lovely, lovely. And then, oh, I'm always loved. That can be, even if that is fake. This is a new belief you want to start believing in. Oh, I'm always loved. Oh, love is always around me. Or if it's abundance, start feeling what it might feel like to be the richest man in the world. Inside, just feel that. Oh, go vibrational shopping. You can walk around the stores and the supermarkets, having a look at clothes, and actually, it doesn't even matter, you can look at the price tag, but if it's even too expensive for you, you can just be like, oh, I'm going to buy that, and buy it in your mind. And then create the feeling inside of you wearing this new clothing that you've just bought. Powerful, you're feeling powerful and empowered because you're just so rich. And it is this feeling, this internal feeling of richness that firstly makes your external life so rich, but because you have this inner freedom now of choosing how you feel, not only are you almost drawn out of the dark night of the soul, or at least into the next stage, I'd say you are really drawn out of the dark night of the soul from that point, actually. Because this inner freedom creates a reflection of that externally, of freedom, so monetary, love, whatever it is you prefer to imbibe, the theme that you've come in to work out in this life or live out. You're then almost, I would say, taken out of the dark night of the soul. And there will still be limiting beliefs within you, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The next stage, stage 4, like where you are actually, you know what you need to do now, so the pain's not really there, but you will still feel pain. In this stage where you know what you need to do, like the things that I've just described to you, you will still feel pain. But every time you feel pain, it's like an opportunity. Oh, thank you. Thanks, this is an opportunity. Now that I've felt this pain, the clues have come up. Oh, right, that's why that's there. Okay, well, how would I prefer to feel? Oh, well, I'll imbibe that feeling within myself. Oh, I think I want abundance. Feeling abundant, going vibrational shopping, not worrying too much if big bills are coming out because you know inside you're abundant. Let's say a big bill does come that you really can't afford to pay, but that you know that you're abundant anyway. Try and create that inner feeling of abundance within you. And see what happens. Because when we're in this positive state, weird things do start happening. You may well find that you turn around and find the money on the floor that you needed to pay for that. Or that you might receive a cheque through the post for some sort of old Class A action lawsuit that you didn't know was happening from your old work. When you imbibe this state of abundance or love or whatever, the world gets weird. Universe, it's got your back and it just goes, hey, go on then, pal. Good work, there you go. But as soon as you lose that state, say a big bill does come, and you lose that state, you go into contraction, like, oh no, God, actually, I really can't afford this. That's it. It's game over. You need to start again. Which can sound like a daunting task, but it's not, because you will get better and better and better and better at it. Imbibe the state you prefer, and watch it take you out of the dark night of the soul. And then watch the external world change to reflect that back to you. Then you know what to do. When you know what to do, the dark night of the soul's days are numbered, because you may still feel pain sometimes, but it'll be an opportunity. Oh, well, how would I prefer to feel? Create that within me. Oh, all right, that's nice. And then that pain's gone, isn't it? And you've counteracted that pain with something more positive. It's like a win-win. And then watch the outside world change too. And then watch the dark night of the soul leave you. I hope this helps. So there are the stages, as far as I see them, of the dark night of the soul. And they allow you to come into a more fruitful version of yourself. The version of yourself that you were always meant to be, but that you couldn't be. Because you had too many negative beliefs about yourself, negative definitions. And this is life's real gift. The dark night of the soul is a gift. And you're so lucky you have it. Life is trying to make you strong. Life knows what you want from life. And you've been asking for so long that you've attracted this into your life now so that you can actually go and get it. It's not a punishment. It's life saying, you now need to look at where you're not quite ready for these things yet and change them so that when you're ready to allow that into your life, life will give it to you. The universe is a very allowing place. It's so allowing that it will allow you to believe you're less than God or less than a creator in this universe. Anyway, if you want to comment, you can. I haven't done this in a while. Like, comment, subscribe. A bit cliche, innit? Yeah, free guided meditation if you'd like it, link below. And for those of you enjoying it already, peace and love to you. And for the rest of you, have a great day. I'm gonna. Namaste.